You are very welcome to ADHD and Is. Hey there, you are very welcome to ADHD Is ... It's whatever you want it to be, baby. Today we are going to talk about, what are we going to talk? Impulsivity. Not very impulsive. We're going to talk about impulsivity and we're going to talk about creativity. And impulsivity, fuck me. Yeah, impulsivity. Impulsivity is one of the reasons that I stopped drinking. Impulsivity, sweet baby Jesus. Okay, this is a hard one because impulsivity with ADHD is basically lacking self-control, struggling to pause and think, which can lead to anger and overwhelm and anxiety, interrupting people, which I have done all my life, and my very good friends know that I do this and I'm well aware of it. But I didn't know that you weren't meant to interrupt people, and I didn't realize that you weren't meant to, that neurotypicals don't appreciate a similar story. Neurodiverse people do, but neurotypicals don't appreciate you going, I experienced something similar, because they feel like that they're talking to you about their trip to Tenerife and you just went to 11 Reef, because they're so no, it's very unfair. But neurotypicals, please watch this and please understand that most people that are ADHD, autistic have absolutely no fucking agenda. There is no ulterior motive, because we haven't got the capacity for a fucking motive. So there isn't going to be an ulterior motive. Please understand this. Please understand that I am not thinking about something else when I am talking to you, or where I need to get to with this conversation or manipulate. I am not fucking thinking about that, because I am trying to concentrate on what you've said and have I listened, and there isn't a fucking squirrel in the background, or you haven't mentioned a word like I don't know, prayer, and I've gone like a child, because that fucking happens, and am I talking to myself in my monologue accent, which is usually Australian, but at the moment it's Russian, because I'm like, gimme kiss. So no, I don't have the fucking capacity for an ulterior motive. I remember when I was in my corporate job, which I ascended quite quickly when I got the right job. 6 figures, benefits, bonuses, the works. And people used to think, how the fuck... I remember new people used to start, and I'd go into a meeting with them. And when I left my role, I was head of trade marketing. So essentially, I used to say I was like the referee between sales and marketing. So my job was to get the product on the shelves. So essentially, to get the product listed. It was the accounts manager's job to do all the commercials and everything. And my job was to sell the story of what the product was going to bring to the party. And marketing's job was to sell it to the consumer. So I sold it into the retailer, and I'd be like bells and whistles. I remember predominantly men used to, we'd go into the meeting and you'd probably have a debrief over a coffee, and they would say to me, oh my God, I didn't think you had prepped. I didn't think you had X, Y, and Z. I used to go in and fucking kill it. I'd say they're still going, I wish we could have had Linda back. No, they're not. You're only a number. But I fucking killed it in that job. I could get most things listed. And I never discussed terms. I never discussed, people liked me, and that's why they put product on the shelf. It's as fucking plain as that. And, you know, it's really funny because we were talking about impulse. That is risky behavior, like not prepping, not, you know, but I knew my products inside out and backwards. I knew my new product development inside out and backwards. And I used to be able to just go in and be like, yeah, that's what they bring to the party, and you should, because every other retailer, it was off the charts. It was very good. But on the other side, I was that passionate that I could get very feisty in meetings, and I could speak out of turn, and general managers that were mostly men didn't like that. Didn't like being spoken to out of turn. Didn't like being called up on things. Ultimately, it wasn't a very happy parting of the ways, but it was necessary, and I very much mourned that job. I loved that job. I didn't necessarily love corporate. I wasn't built for corporate. I couldn't go back into a corporate environment now. I would not survive. But I fucking loved that job. Was I left out of things? Yes. Was I impulsive in situations? Yes. Would people go for lunch and like 10 of them walk out the door for lunch and I not be invited? Yes. I had 4 corporate roles in 15 years. The last one actually being 7 out of those 15 years. So, and yeah, I was never in the group, in the cool group. I was never in the cool group in school. But that impacts you. As I left corporate at 36, that impacts you, not being invited for lunch. Yeah. And my job, I actually talk about this. Valerie Troy is a comedian and a writer, and she was actually my financial controller in the department that I worked in Kerry Foods. In Kerry Foods, I had an awful experience there for 2 years. Very much miscommunication, very much received an apology after it. But because of somebody else's insecurities, my life was made absolute living hell. It was a horrible place to work. And I always say to Val that she made, you know, things extremely light, and she was such a good and kind person. But yeah, I was always at my desk. And people, you know, maybe I'm an annoying bitch. Yeah, I am. I get things done though. I do get things done. But yeah, I was never in the gang going for lunch or the nights out or going for pints and to be honest with you, that's my whole life. You get used to shit like that. You know, believe me, stuff like that does not hurt the older you get. It only hurts the younger you are. And I firmly believe I only have social media for my business. I'm chronically online. I love social media, but I only started my social media in 2018. I reckon I would have been like fucking well in with TikTok had I started it earlier. But I started it in 2018 just to promote my business. That was it. I have no interest in seeing where you are, what you're doing. I'm quite private, even though I speak a lot out of turn. You don't really know a lot about me. I'm quite private. But one of the ultimate reasons, and this is really fucking sad, but one of the ultimate reasons that I didn't have social media is because it would have killed me to see pictures of people out and I hadn't been invited, because that would have happened. So yeah, it was really a protection mechanism more than anything else. And I was glad I did. It was very conscious, and very intentional. Because I knew that, you know, I might not have been invited. And even now more than ever, because I said at the start, we're going around the houses here, I said at the start, like, my impulsivity led me to giving up drink, because like in my 20s and 30s, gosh, I made some absolutely detrimental decisions with alcohol. Detrimental. When I think about, decisions not to get taxis, decisions to get taxis with people that I shouldn't have got taxis with, a lot of fucking silliness, and not realising that people with ADHD, and certainly in my case, and I've done a bit of research on it, people with ADHD, we drink faster than regular people. So in order to stem, and autism is the same, in order to stem anxiety in a social situation, we drink faster. So we will probably have our first 3 drinks done by the time somebody's finishing their first. And drinking fast at the start of the night allows the alcohol to go into the blood system quicker. So if you drink slowly, it doesn't seep into the blood system quite as quick. So honestly, I haven't drank for 4 years, but it got to the stage where I couldn't drink socially. Socially was having 10 drinks and blacking out at the end of a night. And I wasn't necessarily a nice person. I wasn't a nice friend. I would, probably say things that I had a bit of courage to say. And maybe I avoided saying those things without alcohol. And then I'd get alcohol and I'd be like, well, listen here and I'll tell you. As somebody who's medicated for ADHD, I very much recommend it. It has been one of the best things that I have ever done for me. I'm still impulsive. I will still book a holiday on Friday and go on Saturday. My impulse spending is dramatically down. I don't like to go shopping. And I understand that I used to buy shit to make me feel better. I don't do that anymore. So I understand there are certain things that make me feel better. Building Lego makes me feel better. It's not that it's a hyper focus, it's that I'm doing something else. Building Lego makes me feel better. Writing makes me feel better. I don't journal. I don't have the patience for journaling. I don't have the patience for meditation. I really appreciate people who do. I will walk instead of meditate. I write about things that have happened to me in life. Maybe there's a book there, but I write about situations where I had limerence, as we talked to it previously, that I might have been impulsive, that situations that I learned from, situations that, maybe I was a CUNT. And that's what I love to do. I love that space. And I like to help people, as I've spoken about before. So, impulsively, that's why we pick up the phone and we go, here, you're driving me mad. Let's just fucking sort it out. Yes, that is not going to make me a millionaire, but syllabi. ADHD and impulsivity, absolutely uncontrollably linked, which, as I said, leads to anxiety, overwhelm, anger, flaring up of situations. If somebody and that's why you need a really understanding partner, choose your partner wisely. If somebody has ADHD and they lose their shit, it's usually not what they're losing their shit about is what they've lost their shit about. It's the straw that's broken everything. And on the complete opposite side, God, I'm good in a crisis. We are good in a crisis. My house could be falling down and I will be like, okay, this is my time to shine. And this is where the calm takes over. This is where the bigger the fucking problem, the more calm and the more solutions I have to it. See if you bang a door, fucking run, bitch. But yeah, the smallest thing can irritate. The chewing, the walking across the floorboards upstairs. I know that sounds ridiculous. The biggest thing, we're fucking rock stars, absolute rock stars. I'm going to leave it there. Anybody has any questions? If I went off on a tangent, I don't remember. I've no script for this. I have talking points. I wouldn't be good with a script. It wouldn't work for me. But if you do have any comments, any questions, anything you can, advise me on, please, I'd love it. Please like and subscribe, because it does make a difference. And yeah, this is ADHD is ... And that was my stomach. Oh my God. Bye.